Hey everybody, this is Paige from Mosaic Moments, and today I'm doing my very first flip through video. So for today, I am showing you unexpected favorites. So these were layouts where they basically turned out better than I even expected. So of course I want every layout to look good and I expect that, but some of them really do surprise me. So I'm gonna go through some of my favorite ones here. And right here I have this layout. It's mostly made with Explorer level dies, although this was cut with the Mosaic die, which is considered Discover, and this was cut with the 2x2 grid die, which is also Discover as well. But what was unexpected about this layout is the feminine route, or the feminine look I went with. So you can see the photos are of an aviation museum, and airplanes tend to have more masculine colors, a lot of darker colors, maybe some bold colors like this bright yellow plane right here. And originally I was going to go that direction with my layout because I was thinking, okay, it's an aviation museum. But I was looking and I have these two pictures of myself. These were taken 10 years ago. And I realized, okay, this page is about me, and why not go a little more of a feminine route? Now, this page isn't super feminine. It's not like, I chose a blue background still, but the blue isn't like navy blue or something, and it goes well with this pattern paper that has a mix of pinks and yellows and all sorts of colors, and I have two different shades of blue, one being a lighter blue. But this has become one of my favorites because I just love, every time I look at it, I just love how it turned out. I love that I went a different direction from the norm. I could have gone with this more masculine design, but instead I made the aviation museum photos basically a feminine, more feminine looking, we'll say, layout. So that was what was unexpected to me. It's become one of my favorite layouts. This one is one of my favorites as well because this bottom part turned out way better than expected. So we do the blending technique, and sometimes I would take two different photos to fill that area. All of our pages use 4x6 photos, and this bottom part was not an exception. And what I did was, this is actually one 4x6 photo, and I cut it into all 1-inch squares, and I rearrange some of the parts, so in the end it looks like one big long photo like this. So this was actually a 4x6 photo right here, and you might be surprised that it covers so much on the layout. I was able to do it because this is a photo with some flowers and some leaves, so I could kind of get away with blending that one photo to make it look like one long photo on here. But this is why it's one of my favorite pages, because every time I look at this, I'm like, I can't believe I got that to work. And it looks so good, and the colors look really good, bright and fun. So that has become one of my favorites. All right, this right here has become one of my unexpected favorites because I added the titles here and here. So I don't do a lot of vertical strip or panoramics. So this one's a little bit different in that the strip design is vertical. Like I said, I don't do that. Most of them have been the horizontal direction, but these are photos of Bryce Canyon, and you can see the photo kind of looks busy. It has all these little things and the mountains here. And so when I placed these two photos on, they looked very busy. They almost looked too busy, and I felt like I needed a break for my eyes somewhere. And I decided, well, I could fit in the name Bryce Canyon with the alphabet dies. So I got some brown cardstock. It's the same one I've used in the middle here and in the corners. And it turned out really good. It actually looks better than when I just had the photos there. So if you're finding your page looks a little bit busy, you can just make a simple tweak and it'll help it be less busy. And that's what I did here. So the strip thing, if you're feeling like in my case, the photo's looking too busy, try adding something else, like a piece of cardstock with a title in it. And it's also great because I was able to fit in the word or the name of this place, Bryce Canyon. So it was also an extra benefit to add in that title. And it's really one of my unexpected favorites because, first of all, I just really like this page. I think the vertical panorama looks so neat. And I'm just amazed every time I look at these because it was just one simple fix that makes the page, really. All right, this one was an unexpected favorite, or is an unexpected favorite, because as you can see, there's only 3 photos. This was one of those times where a lot of photos were not taken, and saying that, they're also not the best photos. They're not the prettiest photos we've ever taken, and this is what I had to work with. If you've never done a layout with Mosaic Moments with only 1 or 2 photos, I'd say give it a try. You absolutely can do it. And that's what's surprising to me about this layout is, even though it's not a very photo-focused layout like some of our others, it still turned out really well. It has the 3 photos, and what makes it unique is the overlap look, which you can do. We don't have this on our pattern gallery because we're not able to program the patterns to be able to have this kind of element, but it does give it a different look. And I made this mosaic pattern paper right here, and I just love this look. I love being able to frame the focal point in this way, and that's why it looks so good. It's just framing that. And I have the North Pole dies on the top and bottom here, and it makes it less boring. I could have just put on 2 strips of paper, but the North Pole die adds a little more personality, or I think the North Pole dies adds more character to this layout, and it looks so good. So even though it only uses the 3 photos, I think it still looks beautiful and it still looks neat. All right, this one right here, if you don't know what this die is, this one's called Box Kite. In the center here, we have a 2x3 size, and that's the one I use. And there's also a 3x4 size that's a little bit bigger. And this is one of those ones where I didn't know exactly how it turned out. This is when the Box Kite die was new, and we kind of have to explore and see how it can be used, and I just fell in love with this design. It was just something I thought of. I thought it would look really neat for an African-inspired layout, and I love how you can see here there's this double diamond look, and it goes, just the design itself that I did with the Box Kite die just goes with the theme of this page perfectly. And what also helps is I have pattern paper along here so it doesn't look too overwhelmingly busy. This die is great if you have a lot of photos where your subjects were taken very far away, like in this case if you go to a place with animals, whether you are going on a safari or at the zoo, you know, the animals tend to be pretty far away, so they're able to fit pretty well in these kind of dies. But I just love the design. It just looked way better than I thought, and it just goes with the overall theme. And that's something you can think of when you are using the dies is, does this die go with the theme of the photos? It doesn't have to, of course, but that's something you could think about. My last few pages show adventure level dies. So this one right here shows the on the dot dies, and I do have a video of this one, and I'll link that in the description below. What happened was, so I'm at this place in Virginia Beach area with all this Spanish moss. I went there purposely to take pictures with the Spanish moss. So I wanted to feature it on this layout, and this is a picture where I'm standing kind of in front of some, and I just didn't really think about it, but consciously all that much, but I had photos of just the Spanish moss alone, because you always need photos like that from Mosaic Moments layouts to fill little places like this. And I made the page and I was like, okay, those photos of the trees would look pretty good in these spaces, right? And at the end I was like, oh, it looks like I'm standing in a whole forest of them, like, and that was really not intentional. Like, I wasn't thinking about it. And so that's why it was unexpected for me, because I was like, wow, this page came out way better than I even thought it would, just because it looks so cool. I just love how it looks like me and my dog, for that matter, are just surrounded by all these trees, and that's what I thought of. So this was kind of a happy accident, and I love how it turned out. And of course, you can intentionally do this at home if you have something in the background of your focal point here, such as flowers or some kind of tree. You can incorporate that with, either maybe part of the same photo or other photos of that same background into these other spaces, and then it kind of looks like you're around a field of flowers or a forest of trees. It'll look really neat. All right, this one, when I first did it, I didn't think it was going to be that good. So right here, this layout shows the Clover die set, and it's in a restaurant, and I'm sure many of you have taken photos in a restaurant, and the photos are not necessarily the best because the lighting's kind of lower and your photos may turn out a little bit blurry in those situations. But with the Clover die, I think it makes the photos look better. I don't know what it is about Mosaic Moments. It's just when you put poor quality photos on a layout, the dies help it all look better. So that was part of what amazes me. But the other part that was surprising was these sunflower photos. So when I first did this layout, I have the pattern paper here and I have cardstock here, and so I wanted to place a photo in these other spots to contrast the paper. And originally I printed the photos as is, and these flowers looked super bright. It almost took away from everything else on the layout and it drove me crazy. And I didn't know what to do about it. I was like, what is the solution to this? And I thought about it and I realized, oh, there's filters I could use. So filters, if you've been on Instagram or if you have any photo editing program, a lot of them now come with filters, and they may make your photos black and white or look antique. They just give your photos different coloring basically. And I decided to go with a filter on my iPhoto program that comes on the Mac computers. And I just picked a filter, and it helped the yellow seem less overbearing. And so when I put it on this layout, it doesn't feel too overwhelming. The yellow is not too bright. It actually looks a little more orange instead of completely yellow. So that really helped tone down the photograph parts. And this page has become one of my favorites. It was just really unexpected in the sense of I didn't think it would even look this good. All right, this is my last layout, and this is the most recent one I have made, and this is the one that inspired this video theme. So these have been on my computer since 2007, and they were sitting there a long time because the reality is mulching photos are pretty boring. You can see there's a lot of brown. Just a lot of brown. There's some green in there, but it wasn't exactly it wasn't a very exciting subject to scrapbook about, let's be honest. And back in 2007, we were just doing squares and rectangles. There wasn't any dies at the time, and so yeah, that probably would have been pretty boring. Maybe I could have added some embellishments to make it look a little better, but overall, you have to admit, not very exciting photographs. But I had an assignment to use the Windsor dies, and it was specifically to do something about home, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna find something that had to do with our home. I found these photos. We'd never made any pages with these photos, and I put it together, and I was just completely amazed. I'm still amazed at this page. Every time I look at it, I'm like, I can't even believe how good it makes the photos look. And that's why we call it Mosaic Moments Magic, because there honestly is some photos that seem dull or boring, or maybe you have photos you think, that doesn't look very good. Like, we've had photos we don't think are great photos, but you put it on a page and magic really does happen, and it somehow makes the Mosaic Moments system makes your photos look better. And that was the magic behind this one, that I made these kind of boring and dull photos look so much better, so much more interesting because of this die design. And again, this is the Windsor die. So this is my last layout. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you enjoyed this flip through, please let me know in the comments below if you would like to see more flip through videos, and maybe what kind of themes you would like to see or ideas you would like to see as well. All right, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.